Hi everyone, welcome to the December 2023 edition of the Mug Rug of the Month Club. And what are we doing this month? This really adorable little snowman that has a pocket so that you can put in a treat or a pen or a candy cane or whatever and have a really nice gift. So this is a lot of fun. It's quick, it's easy. Okay, so what do we need to start this project? But you need your 5x7 hoop with, I'm using a tearaway stabilizer inside of it. It doesn't really matter. You can use a no-show mesh or a tearaway. I don't want to use a heavy cutaway simply because that's going to add bulk to the seams, and I don't like that. So I want seams nice and thin. You're going to need your file loaded on your machine. It's called December Mug Rug. .pes, so load that into your machine. You're going to need a piece of batting, about 6 inches by 9 inch rectangle of just plain cotton batting. You could use Insulbrite, that would be fine too. You're going to need about a 6 inch by 6 inch piece of background fabric, and I'm using blue stars for the left side of the mug rug. You're going to need scraps of white, enough for at least a 2 by 2 inch square and a 4 by 4 inch square of white. One thing, if you are using a white and you put it against the blue background and you can see through it, you probably want to use 2 layers of the white or use some kind of color like interfacing or something behind here to make this more solid. I like to use 2, and how you know you need it is that if you put a scrap behind it, like that. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see this other scrap behind there in white against the blue, so that I probably will put in 2 layers. You're going to need a piece of yellow scrap about 2.5 by 2.5 inches for the scarf. You're going to need scrap of black, about 1.5 by 2 inches of black for the hat. You're going to need, for the right side of it, you're going to need about a 3.5 by 6 inch piece of fabric, the same color as this background. And then you're also going to need a piece of about 3.5 by 7 inches. And then you'll fold it in half and give it a good press of some kind of print. I've picked this cute little stripe fabric. It's a diagonally print stripe, and I thought that would look really cute. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric, 6 inches by 9 inches, that you're going to fold in half so that it is 4.5 inches by 6 inches for the backing of the mug rug. You need 2 of those. Other things that would be helpful to have is a curved pair of embroidery scissors. Makes it easier to cut out your applique. You'll need colors. These are the following colors that I used. Was white, a green, black for the hat, red for the band on the hat, and orange for the carrot nose. And then it helps to have a pre-made little bow. And really, this is not a good example of a bow. I can't tie a bow if my life depended on it. So this is as good as it gets for me, but you guys are probably much better at making bows than I am. You'll need a little bit of painter's tape or using that white paper tape to hold things together. You need to have embroidery bobbin thread in your machine. Okay, let's load this design onto my machine and let's start stitching. Okay, I've loaded the design into my machine. I hit set. Notice it's oriented horizontally. I may need to rotate that, so I'm going to hit edit and rotate it. Rotate it 90 degrees so that it fits inside the 5x7 hoop. Your machine may do that automatically, but not all of them do. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and now I have gone to embroidery. All right, the first stitch is going to give you the placement for the batting. And I will speed this up. This is just giving me the placement. Okay, there's the placement. I'm going to place the batting on top so that it covers all of the stitches, and do color stop number 2, and this is going to give me the tack down for the batting. Okay, at this point I'm going to just pull this out a little bit, and I'm going to take my scissors, my sharp scissors, and I'm going to trim away the batting from outside of the seam line, the outer seam line. You have one here, so that is actually showing you the placement for the next piece of fabric. And it really does help to have curved scissors to do this. I'm going to finish this off camera because it's a little hard to maneuver around the arm. I'll be right back. All right, the batting has been cut away from outside the seam line, and then this is the right side of the mug rug, so I'm going to cover it with a piece of the background fabric so that it extends about a ½ inch around all of those lines. Okay. And then I'm going to stitch color stop number 3, which is going to tack down this fabric. I'm switching to white thread because the next color stop, which is color stop number 4, is going to give me the placement for the snowman's body. Okay. Okay, so now what I need to do is cover the snowman's body, and this has got a print to it. And 1 is not quite enough, so I'm going to fold this in half. If you are worried about the fabric shifting, here's a little tip for you. That you can take, well, I'm going to take this Elmer's washable school glue and just take a few pieces, just dab it, and I'm just folding it, and I'm going to hit it with a dry hot iron. And I have a small pad here that I can use that goes underneath my hoop, but a folded up small towel will work just as well. And see, now these 2 layers are nice and stuck. If you're worried about it shifting inside my stitching lines, where here's the body of just put some of this school glue. Place your fabric on the top so that it covers all the stitching. Let's see. Little tail sticking out. There we go. I think that when it covers everything, you see everything covered. Now go down a little more. Yep, that'll work. Okay. Put your mat underneath here, this mat, or the towel. I would not do this on your machine. I would do this at a table, but for camera shot, this is just fine. And then once that is heat set down, it's like using a fusible without actually using a fusible. I'm going to return this to the machine. Whoops, take the mat out. All right, and I'm going to stitch color stop number 5 in order to tack down the white. Ooh, didn't quite make it, but that's okay. It'll cover. Didn't quite make it, but that's okay. It's going to be just fine. Okay. I'm not going to take it out. That'll be covered by the satin stitch. All right, so now I'm going to release this a little bit, and I'm going to take my curved scissors again and trim as close as I can to the stitching. way around the outside. Just take your time. If you lift your fabric as you're using these scissors flat, you're going to get real close to the stitching line without cutting it. Now here's a spot where now I don't have to worry about this. There's another piece that's going to go over top, but if you really must get that really close, what you do is you put your finger underneath of it and press against your finger, and you can get even closer. Okay, so now color stop number 6 is going to be in white, and it's going to tack down the edges of the applique. And this will be like watching paint dry, so I will finish this off camera and I will be right back. Okay, it has stitched around the body of the snowman. Next, I put green thread into the needle, and because that's the next big color we're going to be using, and this color stop number 7 is going to give me the placement for the snowman scarf. I'm using green to do the striping, but use whatever color you like. Okay, I'm covering the stitching with the yellow or whatever color you want, and I'm going to tack down the yellow. It's small enough I don't need to use the fusible. It'll be fine, or the glue in order to tack it. This is going to work just fine. It's not going to shift. We're going to cut away all of the excess fabric from around the scarf, and this does help to take it out. Return the hoop to the machine and do color stop. This will take a while to stitch out, so I will be back, but you will notice at the bottom here of the scarf, it's going to be really long stitches. If you find that your machine cuts automatic jump stitches, stop it and turn that feature off for when it does the fringe, because we want those stitches long, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Okay, I want to show you how it stitches those long stitches for the fringe. So if you're finding your machine is automatically cutting those, turn the feature off, and I'll show you how I would turn the feature off. I didn't have to on this machine, but if I did, this is what you would do. I'll stop that for a minute. On this machine, you're going to look for a symbol that looks something like that. Then it'll tell you whether you want to, this is the end color trim or the jump stitch trim. At this point, I would turn it off. You can also change the length of what it interprets as a jump stitch. Right now, the default is 5 millimeter, which is a little less than about a little tiny bit less than 1/4 of an inch. But I'm going to just, I can leave it on because these are not. Well, I'm going to leave it off for now. That way I don't run the risk of it accidentally cutting all of these nice long stitches. Okay, now it's going to resume the regular zigzag stitch or satin stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that feature off, and I will be back when it's done stitching. All right, it's finished stitching the fringe work. Now it's going to, color stop number 10 is going to give me the placement for the snowman's head. So I put white thread back on the machine. Let's see if this covers it all. Okay, yes, I put a double layer here, and again it's going to stitch down the head. Okay, I'm going to remove the hoop and trim. Return the hoop to the machine. Again, I'm using the white, or it's going to seal in the edges of the white fabric for his face. Color stitch number 13 is going to give me the placement for his hat. Okay, and then I'm going to cover the stitching with the black fabric and stitch color stop number 14 to tack down the black hat fabric. Okay, once again I'm going to trim away the hat fabric, excess hat fabric. I'm going to return the hoop to the machine and stitch the brim of his hat. Okay, color stop number 16 is going to seal in the edges of the hat fabric, but it's also going to do the details like the eyes and the mouth. And this is kind of slow watching, so I am going to return as soon as it's done stitching this color. Okay, there's a few jump stitches here that I need to cut, mostly because they're shorter than 1/4 of an inch and the machine didn't recognize it as a jump stitch. So I'm going to go ahead, and now I put in orange, and I am stitching color stop number 17. I cut the jump stitches. It's got all of the embroidery done. And so now we need to release this fringe. So I'm going to turn this over. And I'm just putting my little folded towel or mat underneath just for some support so I don't punch through. And I'm just going to go, and see right here? I'm going to just cut away the bobbin thread. Carefully. Thinner scissors work better, and you're just cutting through the white bobbin thread. Don't cut through your stabilizer. I've done that before. Okay, see, it's nice and clear. Then turn this over on a hard surface. Now, and scratch it out. There. And this one. And now your fringe is released. You can trim it if you want it straight. I think it looks kind of cute, scrappy. Of course, you're going to see all these little white bits, so just sort of flake those away. There we go. And so now, how cute is that? And so it's now he's got a little floaty fringe, and so you don't even notice that I missed the white. Okay, let's return this to the machine because now we're going to construct the rest of this mug rug. Okay, now to stitch color stop number 18. I know this sounds like a lot of color stops, but it's not so bad. You're not changing thread all that often. Okay, so now next one is going to show the placement for the pocket pieces and the right side of the mug rug. I've taken this This is I call it the the gift box. That's the 3.5 by 7 inch piece. And I fold it in half. I want the folded edge up here. And I'm going to place that so that it covers that stitching. It can be a little bit over. Okay, and now, oh, that's maybe a little higher. I like it fold just oh, make sure you get this straight. I have problems getting things straight. Okay, so now you can tape that down, but it's not necessary. I'm going to take my longer piece, the 3.5 by 7 inch or 6 or 7 inch, however wide piece of the background fabric. I'm going to place it in the same spot, but I want it to cover both sides. But these two pieces of background fabric are right sides together. And now I'm going to go ahead and stitch that down. I'm going to trim this extra fabric here through all the layers, not the batting, just the layers of fabric, about 1/4 inch away. Going to finger press that open, or you can use your other iron. Okay, I'm going to finger press that open nice and flat. Return this to the machine. Okay, make sure that's good and flat. And now color stop number 20 is going to stitch down this pocket and on the right side. And I'm just going to hold that still. Now the last thing is to place the backing, and of course these are the big 6 by 9 inch pieces like that, folded in half, sort of overlap, put that right about at least 1/4 inch away, or just even with the other piece of fabric. Over here, 1/4 inch away. Whoop, folds are on the inside. And you can tape down this, okay? However, I don't like the tape. Tape always seems to get stuck. If you don't have a baby lock or a brother, you don't have this feature, you'll have to put the tape down to keep it from, well, I'll put tape on one side and I'll show you what I'm going to do. You would put a piece of tape here, okay? It's inside the stitching line, but you can tear it away. This way, it helps this fabric from getting caught. Okay, so I'm going to just stitch. I'm not doing the other side. Okay, it's going to come here first. Okay. At this point, you can come over here and remove this tape, although you're more likely to shift things. It came out easily. The other side, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it stitch normally till it gets close. Have my finger on the button and stop. See how that's going to catch. So what I can do is I can actually get this kind of close. I'm going to push this start button. And I'm going to keep pushing it in, and look how slow it goes. Gives you the opportunity to stop and shift things. Okay, it's cleared the seam, so I can let go and let it finish stitching. Now, anytime I get close to that seam overlap, well, this one's fine. Okay, it's going to go around twice. And if you're worried about it catching again and flipping it, stop your machine, start it again, and hold that button till it clears the seam. Now, if you ever have to stop it immediately, you're going to double tap that start button. Okay, and then this is pretty much finished. Okay, we're done. Okay, I'm going to remove the hoop from the machine. And I'm going to go ahead and return to the table to finish this. Okay, I have removed the fabric from the hoop, and I've torn away the outside tearaway stabilizer. It's not necessary to tear every little bit out. If you want to, go ahead. Like this one's already tearing, so I'm probably going to tear most of this away, not all of it, but I'll tear some of it away. Yeah, anything that's pulling, because I'm going to seal up the backing, and therefore this will all bunch up when it's washed and make little clumps inside, so I'm going to remove it. Trim the excess fabric 1/4 inch away from the outside. Make sure you miter these corners. Then I'm going to come over here. Let me get rid of this. Okay, and turn to the right side. So it helps if you jam your thumb into the corner and go like that. Pinch it, push it through. You got 90% of your corner already turned. Makes it a lot faster and easier. It helps to use a point turner to get these edges nice and crisp and square. I don't recommend that you use a scissor tip, although I've done it in the past, sometimes to disastrous ends. Okay. I'm just going to press it. If you want this closed here on the back, you can either whip stitch it closed by hand, or my favorite is to take a piece of fusible webbing and seal it closed. Okay, I don't want to press on this side, but I will press the edges. Sometimes it helps to use steam to get this nice and flat. Yay. Okay, so this is the only handwork you have to do. If you want this to have the bow on the top, then you're just going to tack it down with a little piece of red thread and a hand needle. That'll only take a second or so. It's all finished and it turned out really cute. You can insert pens. I saw some really cute candy cane pencils at the dollar store the other day, but you could put in a pen, you could put in a candy cane or a piece of chocolate or something, and now it's a really cute gift. So if you want a copy of this design, then send me an email, request@waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to send it to you. So if you want to become a member of next year's 2024's Mug Rug of the Month Club, also send me an email request. If you're already a member, you'll continue to get them in 24. Unless you don't want to, then just let me know. I have no problems. If you like, oh, I'm sick of these mug rugs. How many can you have, right? So anyway, if you want to become a member of the Mug Rug of the Month Club, then send me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to send you the design as well as the written instructions. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be apprised of any of my new emails that are coming up, and also comment. Feel free to send questions to me or comments at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So until next time, happy holidays and have a wonderful Christmas, and keep on sewing. Bye.